back. We missed you last week.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an accident.
Yeah, right. No, I'm glad that you could get away. We're sorry we missed you. Bob and Dave Green both say hello.
Oh,
but
good.
This week, of course, we have Heather Thorson and Patty Hegre joining us. Welcome into KHOP88, you guys.
Thank you. So excited.
So I guess the first question I have maybe is a throwback, and that is, what are both of your first or oldest memories that you have of the other one? Patty, you go first.
Well, I remember I was playing hockey, and there weren't very many girl hockey players that you knew of, but there was this Heather. And Heather was, renowned, and all the boys talked about her, mostly because they, all did a jersey check as she skated past them. Long braids. And I just remember then, at some point we started playing sports against each other, and I'm like, well, there's the braid. That has to be Heather. And we started playing against each other. I suppose we started as opponents, and then we became friends.
It's a similar memory. I didn't know that there were girls that played hockey at all. I started at 6 with boys, and I heard at about, I don't know, Patty, probably 6th grade, maybe 5th or 6th grade. I had heard about a group called the Minnesota Checkers out of Wayzata that were a women's team that people talked about that were pretty well known, and I was fascinated. And somehow through those discussions, I heard Patty's name and some other girls from Minnetonka actually that played. And then over that next couple years, I think I ended up stopping boys, I think at like 7th or 8th grade. And then started playing with Patty and these girls from Minnetonka.
Yeah.
So that was like, now girls hockey is more or less just part of the deal, but at that time, so you had to sort of travel around and find a team to put together. Is that how it sort of worked? Yeah,
we had a team called the Tonkins, and it was, that's where there was a little group of girls that started way back in the day, and if Tanya Urkala was part of, I sent a picture of us all playing out at the barn, and she was on that team, so it goes way back. Chris Sather, who is a year older than us, but we formed a team called the Tonkins, and it was Minnetonka, Hopkins, and Edina girls. And we did a lot of traveling to find other girls' teams, and it kind of snowballed from there. And Heather, I can't remember if you joined that team for a year.
I did for, I think 1 year or maybe 2. I went from the boys to, I think I left boys before, I think it was midgets that was called then, because I would have been killed. I would have been killed. Got dangerous, basically. Played with Tonkins, and then Patty and I played at the University of Minnesota, had a women's club team back then. And so then we went to that team together, and then in high school we played on that team, and that was really interesting because there were quite a few club teams in college level locally, and then also nationally we would travel and play.
So they allowed at that time 3. Oh yeah, that's the old barn.
Yeah, that's the old barn in Hopkins.
Freezing.
Very cold.
I can't identify anyone.
I joined the Gophers. They took 3 high school players, so 3 non-students, and Heather and I and another girl named Amanda Hansen.
Nice hair.
All played together. Yeah, it's very 80s hair.
Well, I
was going to say we could explain hairdos here if you guys want to, but
no, we're going to talk about how badass they were. I remember sitting in an ice rink going to see you play when you were on this team. And I was not a sports person, but I just remember how amazing and strong. It was just like the most exciting thing. And once in a while, for my children, we see hockey players. I was like, we had female hockey players.
Yeah.
Right, this is the photo that I love here because this is the Glen Lake Little League, right?
Yeah,
Patty,
and that's Jason Crow. Jason
Crow.
Space. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So
That's
Jackie Schwantz, who graduated with us, her dad Don was definitely one of the most influential people in my sports upbringing, and every year he'd take all the girls onto his team and was happy to have us, and he we always had a great team, and he was just a fantastic coach.
What is that?
All right, Heather has to explain this one.
Okay. That was when I was in wrestling in 3rd grade. And there's a few things to note. One of them, the most obvious, the hold. It was very embarrassing for me. My parents had this and they would threaten to put it on the refrigerator when people came over for many years. But what you should note is my barrettes and my jersey and my socks all match. That's my mother, because, you know, I had 2 older brothers and she was doing everything she could to try to make me very feminine in that way. But the other thing is I won that fair and square, and that boy said that I bit him. How could I bite him when my head is down there and my hand's down there and my hands? I did not bite him. And that was pretty much, after I won that, then I was done with wrestling, because I didn't want to be accused of fighting, except for at home, maybe with my brothers fighting or something. Apparently I bit him. I didn't bite him.
No good. No good. Well, I did relay that to someone, because I remember that Patty pitched in our little league a little bit in Glen Lake, and that was, you know, that was rough stepping in against Patty, and you know, because if you struck out, if Patty Hegre struck you out,
you can't win on that one, really.
No.
Oh, no. But you struck a lot of guys out, so it wasn't, you know, that was a big club for sure.
That was a fun. That Little League was fun. And that was a big thing. That was probably the first boys sport that I played, and that I played the longest. I think I quit right before Babe Ruth. My dad was very disappointed to go to softball after that. He may have missed a lot of games at that point of my career.
Do you think, I mean, I think this is one of these things that people our age say a lot of the time when we look back at our childhood, but do you think sports is still as fun now as it was then, or has it become more competitive and
I don't
harder
think, no, I don't think it's as fun as at all. No, as a matter of fact, I've been confused, but I haven't put my son in hockey. He was 10 and really wants to play, and my husband is a hockey player, and his son played at Stillwater. I worked in hockey for many years. Just the money, and, you know, not to stereotype the culture, that cold arenas, and we grew up playing out on the pond, and that's just not really part of it anymore. So we chose not to put him in. My daughter had some interest, but I'm shocked that we haven't. But baseball, I'm still really, you know, much more a fan of, because he goes out and plays, you know, throws the ball around. And basketball, I can't even believe I'm saying it, but my daughter loves basketball, but I'm really appreciating it. It's easy. It's a lot more organic. So it's been hard to watch for me.
Yeah. I would
Patty,
say
what do you think?
that it seems like kids really are specializing younger. And, oh, if you're not going to hockey camp and you're not going to this camp or that camp, you're falling behind. And I've worked really hard to let that go. You know, my boys are just turned 8 and will be 7 on Saturday. And right now we're just trying everything. And we're doing a little bit of skating this summer. That's where I'm headed after this. A little bit of whatever we can, but right now they're just kind of the jack of all trades, master of none, and trying to find what they like.
Do they have any preferences yet?
Well, it was funny because between my husband and I, we coached t-ball, soccer, hockey last year, and they told me their favorite sport was basketball.
Yeah.
Which was frustrating because also they don't play basketball.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think they're indicating they want to try it, and right now they like hockey, they like soccer, and our oldest is really into golf.
That's great.
Yeah.
You guys have both dabbled in coaching. What do you like about that?
I don't like it. That's why I don't do it anymore. I learned a valuable lesson in my early 20s when Jerry Weber, the math teacher and the varsity boys coach, I coached with him in hockey for a couple years, and it's very different to be a player than a coach. it's like being a student and a teacher. I mean, it's very different. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was interesting because at that time, that was the first year that they had girls hockey, and I was a good friend and somebody they could look to say, oh, she played, but to actually break down the sport and teach skills and the game, that's a gift. And I wasn't, and also deal with the personalities and the parents. So I would say I was a pretty good friend, and I was good to with Jerry Weber, I could talk to the girls about their day, stuff like that. But it's a gift to be a good coach.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. What's funny is you may not remember this, but you were coaching at Hopkins and I was coaching at Minnetonka on the girls team.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. I would put my category in I'm inappropriate for an assistant coach.
Yes.
And
Good number 2.
yeah, I dabbled this year a little bit doing it with, 7 and 8 year olds, which is a whole different deal. But you really have to be organized. And, our hockey association, I'm fortunate they give you a hockey plan. I do like the strategy of who plays well together and that thing. But to Heather's point, there's a lot to deal with parents and stress. And I think I just sometimes lack the confidence too, to be oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about, when there's a lot of people within the community who know way more than I do. So
Yep.
I get a little intimidated.
I agree.
That is rough when you're coaching younger kids, especially, right? Because there's a lot of parents out there who have experience as well. And yeah, they're looking over your shoulder. I mean, I don't recall my parents ever coming to practice. That wasn't a thing that happened when we were kids. Parents didn't come to practice. Now they come to practice, right?
I guess.
And they keep tabs. They're in the glass like this, and you're, it's bad.
Practice is a good time to get a little break. That's how I see it. It's here we drop you off at practice, and then you get an hour or so to get a little break.
Yes, exactly.
And
again, go ahead, Marnie.
Well, are the two of you competing on any teams right now?
No, I'm just excited that the quarantine forced me to get outside and start exercising again, because I needed to get out of the house, and I've been stagnant for a while. And so I'm just really happy that I'm exercising again. And I was telling my husband, I was actually feeling slightly athletic again recently, because he's walking by now.
Oh, we want to say hi.
There he goes.
Hi.
But I got into exercising and getting outside again, just because the only thing I could do to get out of the house. But I think, Patty, you've been playing hockey, haven't you?
I've been playing hockey. I quit for quite a long time and played broomball competitively, and then I went back to hockey about 5 years ago. So I always tell my friends I'm playing in an old ladies league, the Chicklets. We have a lot of fun. And then I'm playing softball with Heidi Butler, who's a year older than us, and Janet Clark. And Heidi's dad, we grew up playing on the Purple Prickers with him, and Ron Axel, Amy Axel's dad. So it's kind of full circle. He's still in the stands, telling me what's wrong with my batting stance, and it feels like it's come full circle. So still doing some.
I might have to come watch that just to see those people.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
A little slower.
I miss it for sure.
But it's pretty competitive though, right, Patty? You travel for tournaments and stuff like that. It's not just a bar league thing that you're involved in.
The softballs, I would say we're competitive, but it's a little bit of bar league. But my women's team is pretty competitive. Interestingly, I was out on the ice and I heard "Hey, Patty," and it was Mari Holton, Mari from high school. And now she's playing in a women's league because her daughter played, and we ended up playing against each other. And she's really fast still.
Great.
She's fast on ice.
All right, I want to bring up this. I Googled both of you today to pull up your LinkedIn, but here's the thing, Heather's in the Hall of Fame. Did you guys know this?
No.
At Gustavus.
Heather's in the Gustavus Adolphus Hall of Fame. And
Awesome.
there's you guys should Google it and find this, because the write-up is incredible.
You might find some other things. We'll just stick with that good one right there.
Well, I won't read the whole thing because it's long, but the first part of it is amazing. A gifted athlete with cat-like reflexes and a cannon for an arm. How awesome is that? So the question that I have is, it says that you had the highest batting average in softball in the history of the MIAC at the time. When you hit, what is it, like 488, career 488, but over 500. Does that record still exist? Do you know?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't remember. I haven't looked it up in quite some time, but there is a little story behind that.
Okay.
I broke my wrist that year, and at that time you could wrap it up and you could still bat. So I wasn't even playing in the field, but I'm left-handed and I can bunch, so I would just hold the bat like this and run and carry it down the line. And I was pretty fast, so majority of that was just I would get up and bunt, and then they'd say, she's got a cast on her arm, move in, and they'd move in, and then I would just go like that, just smack it over their head, and then I would run. So it's, it's not like Carmen Killebrew or anything like that. It was a little
part of the strategy.
But that's very strategic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, my wife played softball in high school, and so we'll go see the Badgers play, and she always sort of at the slap hitters.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if I like that.
It's part of the game, but it's a little bit. Bonnie Johnson, our coach at the time at Hopkins. I don't know if you guys remember Bonnie Johnson.
Of course, yeah.
That's a trivia right there. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. But she would have me bunt all the time, and my dad was like, let her swing away. He'd yell like, swing away, stop it.
That's great.
Yeah, but if you got on base, it was likely you would score. You were fast, lead off, come on base, move around. I mean, it was a good strategy, but I still liked your dad yelling in the stands.
Yeah, it was just like, swing away, let her swing away.
So do you guys keep in touch with any of your old coaches and teachers from high school?
No, I don't. Do you, Patty?
I'm Facebook friends with, so a shout out to Rick Sather and Bob Shaw, who were our coaches growing up. Don Schwant, they're all on Facebook. So I kind of, friends of, they're really friends of fathers of my friends. So other than that, no, not really. I think I ran into Bonnie Johnson a few years ago when my kids were like 4. We ran into each other at the grocery store.
Was she wearing coach's shorts?
Oh yeah.
What are coaches' shorts?
You know what I'm talking about.
No,
they're like high-waisted. They're like baseball coaches' shorts. They're high-waisted with a couple buttons. You wear them up high, they come down like by the knee, low to the knee.
And they're flammable.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Not natural fibers.
No.
Patty, do you remember what she used to tell us about pain? Like to push through the pain?
Yeah. So you may not remember this, but I was a catcher. I was catcher most of my high school career. And she got mad at me one time because I flinched.
Yeah.
And missed a ball or something. And I don't know if Ann Hansen was the pitcher, and she had this wind up where, I mean, if I could track the ball, that was just a miracle because she had a really kind of wild delivery. But my punishment was to catch bunting practice off the pitching machine with no mask. So not something that would probably happen these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just go home bruised. My legs would be bruised.
A lot to do with pain, but it was usually she would yell about, you ladies don't know until you have a baby. That was a big one.
Wow.
Sorry, can I say that on this?
Yeah,
Please do.
That was her thing. It was like, just you wait. This is nothing. Right?
She would always have the seniors over. And so Heather and Kathy Russett and Heidi Zeke, I remember we were like nervous going over to her house for the dinner. We were like, what's going to happen? And I feel like there was more of that discussion there.
I hope she doesn't watch this because I did get along with her, but I look back on that and I was like, wow, that's a little.
Okay, well, speaking of staff, Ramon Reyna one of our social workers, is watching right now. He says, howdy, all of you. And he has a question for you, Patty. Are you wearing the EP shirt as a parent or as a staff person?
Both. So this is, my son is on the ice at 7:30 with his 3-on-3 hockey league, and I'm coaching that team this year. So I am dressed so that I can hightail it out the door and not be late. So a little bit of both. Even though this is a baseball shirt, technically, it works for all of them.
Leslie Jorgensen is also in here. She says hello to both of you. Hi, Heather. Hi, Heggs. Another MIAC, right? Did she go to Gustavus?
She went to
Maybe
St.
she'll wait.
Thomas, I think.
Yeah, she went to St. Thomas and was quite the accomplished tennis player.
Yeah. You played tennis at St. Thomas?
She still plays.
Yes. We'll
Oddly,
have to have her on.
and Mike.
Oh, I
Cage-
love that story about Bonnie Johnson because, like, the boys always talk about the hell stories of the coaches who, you know, sort of belittle you and, you know, it's all masculine insults and stuff. And we'll tell stories about that forever. But I'm not sure I've ever heard women talk about your coaches like that before. I'm not sure I've heard these stories about Bonnie.
Yeah, she was a character for sure.
You know, Ron Wadeen, who was our
Yes.
8th and 9th grade fast pitch coach, Heather, does that sound right, at West?
Yeah.
He told me that I might be faster and be able to do more pull-ups if I laid off the Dairy Queen.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
Oh my.
So I would say that was probably that was an anomaly, but
Yeah, those things.
you can kind of remember what he was like. Sorry if you're
Well,
like,
Heather, you cross-country skied 1 or 2 seasons, right?
Oh yeah,
That's another
pick up,
coach,
like you're
Pat
picking up the
Landon.
weirdest things that I did. Yeah, I did that for 1 year, my senior
1
year. I
year.
wrote my college essay on that. That's how challenging that was for me.
Oh yeah, it was not an easy sport, but it was not made any easier by Pat Landon being the coach.
No, and I was running on my skis basically because I didn't understand the technique. And I think whatever finals you do, I ended up collapsing and, like, you know, fell down. They had to bring me on the sled, and it was so mortifying to me, you know, to the finish line because I had done all these other great sports things, I thought, and I was so mortified. And so I wrote my college essay on it because it was very humbling sport.
So Patty, you mentioned one of you mentioned you had some memorabilia to share with us.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I just wanted to show you guys something here.
Oh,
Oh,
coveted.
that's cool.
That's
that is
excellent.
cool.
The back though is the key. Yeah. Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome.
Okay.
Wait.
That's in great shape though, Heather. You've really taken
Oh,
care of it.
Thank you. So my daughter wore it, and then my son has been wearing it for the last 2 years, but he can't read cursive, so he doesn't know that my name's on it. And my daughter's like, I can't believe you're wearing a jacket with Heather. Well, now he's starting to be able to read cursive. It's done. He won't
Oh,
wear it anymore.
that's cute.
Yeah, those jackets were big, and I had one. I had the Eisenhower
Yeah,
version,
me too.
purple with Hopkins
Ooh.
on the back.
I have the wrestling clinic patch on here.
Whoa.
Wow, I'm really jealous of that. That's amazing. So, do you guys have any questions for us? Anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't gotten to yet? Any memories that you have that we didn't share yet?
I think Patty could probably share 1 or 2.
You know, I think one of the funniest things was, and Heather, you need to add the color commentary on this one because it's a little sketchy, but when we played for the Gophers, we went up to Baudette, Minnesota. One of the women, she was actually one of the first head boys coaches in Minnesota. Her name was April Hasbargen, and her family was from there. And so we went to the Baudette tournament, and it was the border. I think one of the funniest things was, and Heather, you need to add the color commentary on this one because it's a little. You guys getting feedback?
Now you're good.
There
So-
you go.
we went up there and we played in the tournament, and then all of the rest of the team is kind of like of age and gonna go out, and they shipped Heather and I and the other high schooler off to the high school homecoming dance. And so we walk in and are unprepared, and, you know, we're like walking around, and, you know, it was like, well, what gang are you guys in? You know, and do you put shivs in your shoes? I mean, it was, the perception of the city girls was very interesting. Yeah, it was a riot.
And I mean, for me, I was a real homebody at that time, I didn't like going away, and that seemed like really far away. And they gave us to this family that lived on a farm in Baudette, like in the middle of nowhere, and we lived there with them on the farm, right? And then they go to the homecoming dance, and they bring us to the homecoming dance, and there's like 8 Baudette. I mean, there's like 8 people there. It was very, very interesting. And then the last thing that I do remember, Patty, is that when we went and played those games, though, up there in the border of Canada, they would come in on their snowmobiles to see women play, and they would ask for our autographs.
Oh, cool.
That's amazing.
One time in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I love that story. So that was when you played for the Gophers. So that was women's club college hockey basically at that point?
Yep. And the one last thing I'll say, Patty, that I've thought about recently is that we were never allowed in when we played at the Gophers with the Williams Arena or whatever. We were never allowed in the locker room. So whenever we practice or play games, we changed on the concourse.
Oh.
We've never gone, and I didn't even think twice about it. It was like, yeah, well, we can't go in there, you know, we just have to change out here. Right, Patty?
Amazing.
Yes.
I wonder when
now the women have their own like state-of-the-art arena down there.
I know.
I went and skated at the Whitecaps Arena. It was awesome.
Huh.
The women's professional team in Minnesota, the Whitecaps.
Oh, I was just talking about the Gophers and Ritter Arena.
Both of them are fantastic facilities.
What were you going to say, Marnie?
Oh, I was going to just say one last thing. We have Kyle Smith has a question, which he's wondering can you tell us what you're doing right now with your life back to the present day?
Go, Patty.
I've been in marketing for 100 years, and I work for Health Partners. I have 7- and 8-year-old boys, and they seem to take up any free time I might have, working in a little fun and hockey and softball and golf on the side.
How about you, Heather?
I was in sports marketing for about 15 years. I worked at Rollerblade for many years in those rollerblade days, and then was at the Minnesota Wild for some years, and then went on my own to do sports marketing, took off to raise my kids, and now I'm in marketing at their school fundraising events. And then now I'm getting back into wrestling.
Really?
I'm thinking about it.
Well, how do you get back into wrestling, Heather?
Or maybe roller derby.
Oh, yeah.
I think I can't do roller derby. I'm so excited I'm running right now. So,
but maybe virtual roller derby.
That sounds perfect.
My daughter has been doing aerial dance classes online, like playing on chairs and furniture. So anything.
That sounds good. That sounds good to me.
I've been told we need to take up pickleball.
Oh, I've been told the same thing, and I'm ready for it.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it yet. I think it's 5 more years or so.
Yeah, my husband, he's like, no, you're not doing that yet. But
it's a certain point. You hit the pickleball point, and it's like no going back. Well, you guys, this has been great. Marnie, do we have a guest scheduled for next week yet?
Oh, yes, we do. Let me pull it up.
Marnie's been very busy booking our show here.
Doing great. This is the coolest thing ever.
So fun. Thanks for having us.
So fun.
Oh, yes. We have some exciting guests coming up, since you asked. Next week, we interview Rich Lindstrom and John Cookett.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. July 28th, Karen McIntyre and Jenny Anderson Merritt.
Fun.
August 4th, we have Secretary of State Steve Simon and Adam Samaha, who's a professor of law in New York City.
So we were the baseline is what you're saying.
I was gonna say, we gotta start somewhere, Patty, we're starting
No,
somewhere.
They can't match those stories. They can't match
No.
those Northern Minnesota homecoming stories.
You're being way too modest and humble. I am always have amazing memories of you both playing sports and me thinking, oh, I wish I could do that. And you have given us a lot of good stories and memories.
Well, we have good memories of you guys. It's
Yeah,
nice.
thank you for having us. And thank you for being, I remember, Marnie, you coming to those hockey games. So thank you.
You're welcome. And so this is recorded now. Jason, we have a YouTube page for all your
Right.
friends who missed this show. We are going to be doing this weekly until we finish interviewing every single one of our classmates. So you can't avoid us, those of you who are just watching now.
Right. So thanks, Heather and Patty. Patty, good luck in your game tonight.
Thank you.
Heather, good luck with the homeschooling and learning to play that banjo. And
Thank you.
And virtual
We'll see.
wrestling,
And wrestling.
yes, virtual wrestling.
online wrestling.
We'll
All
see
right.
everybody else
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye.